Once again, let me welcome you to the City Commissioner's Report for the City of Pikeville. Our guest, City Commissioner Jimmy Carter. Jimmy, good to see you.
Good to see you, Homer, and as always, I want to thank you and East Kentucky Broadcasting for giving you an opportunity to come here and talk with us about what's going on in the city.
How kind of you. We appreciate that. Let me frame this in a little bit of a historical perspective. The city, or the Village of Liberty, many years ago, 1800s, they moved. It became Pike, then Piketon, then Pikeville. Great growth in this area from those early days. But there can't be anything that compares with what's happening here in Pikeville in the past few years.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, Homer. I was going through our website the other day, and I was going through some of the history of what's being posted on our website, and it's very interesting. And going back and look at the former mayors and things that were going on during that time, and it wasn't a mayor when they first started. It was a chairman of the Board of Commissioners.
Interesting reading. Finally, they located in the area that we now live in, our hometown of Pikeville, on Elijah Adkins' farm. And on his farm, he had Peach Orchard, which is the location where I work every day.
Right.
So we've come a long way, and we've got a long way to go. I'd be disappointed if you tell me that there's nothing new planned for Pikeville.
There's a lot being planned right now. We still have some major construction finishing up. The U Pike Osteopathic Medical School building is winding down right now, as everyone knows, and I think they're anxious to get that open. And the hospital keeps churning along with their project. It's phenomenal to see this growth.
The entire face of Pikeville changing before our eyes on a daily basis. Let's get to the agenda. Your most recent meeting was on Monday, the 23rd. Am I correct there? Yes.
Correct, yes.
And we're taping here on the 25th. We put this in a time frame, so with any references made to any activity, at least the audience will be able to relate to when the taping is taking place. We're talking first, because this is what we discussed, the renewal of leases on the Hambly Complex.
Right, that's just a yearly thing that we do, and there has been some questions about who's responsible for what. We have a lease worked out, a very nominal lease that the university and Pikeville High School uses the Hambly Complex, and so just more or less just a documentation that they understand who's responsible for what and what we expect them to care for the facility. More
or less a housekeeping agreement.
Pretty much.
So far as the terms are concerned. A couple of weeks ago, Jimmy, we were at the Pikeville City Hall for an appearance by Representative Hal Rogers, Colonel Robert Peterson of the Huntington District, the Corps of Engineers, and they were guests of the Pikeville City Commission, and they brought the gifts. And it was a nice one.
It was a very nice gift, Homer. Working with the Corps and Congressman Rogers, who was a big influence on helping us to get this money. The Corps has some money available that would help us design. I think it's been in the news quite a bit. Design our new sewer plant.
It was a nice gift in terms of $750,000.
Right, and it takes a lot of money to redesign these plants, these wastewater treatment plants. And $750,000 will go a long way to get that thing designed. The good thing is that we just found out, and if you don't mind, we'll just go ahead and talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
Is that we have some good news that came out of the meeting, that we feel like that we can use the footprint that we have now, and no new construction will have to be done. There's so much new technology out there that we can use where we're at right now, and just add, it's going to be a filtration type system, a membrane system, if you will, that will help take our plant from 2 million gallons a day capacity up to possibly, when we need it, and just incrementally taking it up to 6 million gallons a day.
This is important because the impetus for needing this change was the growth of Pikeville. You were quickly approaching the max on the existing system.
Yeah, and it's really strange. It's one of those type deals where we're glad for the growth, and then somebody says, "Oh, you better watch it." We're getting close to capacity on the sewer plant. And that's one of those things you really don't think about until it happens. Luckily, Greg May has worked very hard on this with UMG to make sure that we get the biggest bang for our buck as far as expanding this. But, with the expansion and the expansion of the sewer lines that we've done, not counting just the new growth in downtown Pikeville, 30-some% of the wastewater that we treat comes from the county, not just the city. Coal Run, those expansion lines that we've taken down that way, and also Pike Central High School, Mullins Elementary School, those are on our lines now. So it's a big influx of wastewater treatment that we're doing now and treating the water.
Have you and your brethren considered how long this new upgrade will last for the city of Pikeville? Do you have any numbers projected? Or time frame?
Well, time frame as far as getting it started, we're looking at probably 18 months by the time the design goes in until we really get online. So, and it's going to be pushing it, but we should be in good shape as far as being able to take care of what we've got to that point. We're looking at probably bonding this thing for I think we talked about 30-some years.
30 years.
But that will not get us, it should not get us to the 6 million gallon capacity. So that's the good thing. We're not going to be bonding something that, somebody that comes from behind us is going to have to pay for that's not completely used up yet. So with this new technology, we should be in really good shape years down the road for our children and grandchildren to be taken care of and not have to worry about it.
For those in the audience who be new to the area, can you locate the waste treatment plant for us? What area is it in?
The wastewater treatment plant is in the Poly Addition. If you go across the the bridge going into to Walmart, Lowe's area, you go to the end of that road and take a left, and it's a couple of miles down there in the Poly Addition.
Former animal shelter property in that area?
Right next door, yes.
Next door to it. Let's lighten up the subject a little bit. University of Pikeville's bowling team, the ladies bowling team, gathered honors since we met last. You want to tell us about that and the resolution?
We had a resolution to honor them as I think their third national bowling title, which is very unique. The way this system works is that it's not only the NAIA, but it's NCAA as well. So,
mixed classes.
Mixed classes. So very proud of them, and we had an opportunity to present them with a proclamation honoring them, and had all the team members there as well, and there was like 20-some team members. And I thought something very interesting, Homer, and we talked about the growth of the university and how many different students they have there and the diversity of the students, and we were just talking to them before and during the meeting, and on that team alone, there's a young lady from Alaska. I think there's like 18 states represented on 25 or 26. I mean, it's a very diverse group of young ladies, and what a great job they do representing Pikeville and the university.
Well, there's another pat on the back for Coach Ron Dameron. In addition to his National Coach of the Year honor, he seems to be quite capable at recruiting.
He did give kudos to his girls, young ladies, that he said it's a lot easier to recruit when you win because the girls are out talking it up with their friends and people that they know, which I guess that's good with any sports, or correct with any sports program. If you're a winner, everybody wants to come.
I agree with that. Ron Dameron, this is his third National Coach of the Year award, and we congratulate him on that. One of the most satisfying things for a family is to have a bond burning party, once a loan or mortgage burning party. You didn't quite go that far, but you do have some transactions in the bond area that took place at the recent City Commission meeting. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we're tickled to death that we're going to be able to retire some bonds, refinance some bonds, and then pay off some bonds. And this is all in conjunction with the other money that we're going to be needing for the sewer plant. So once we retire some of these older bonds and pay off some bonds and then refinance some, we're going to save over about $1 million a year, or $1 million total. So
has a total been put to the waste treatment plant? How much will it cost in its entirety?
We should get a number here pretty soon. Again, the different systems that were out there that were being courted to us, I guess you could say.
And you're going with the membrane system?
Well, we feel like that's the way we can go, because we wouldn't have to take it automatically from a 2 million to a 4 million. We could go from a 2 million to a 3 million a gallon a day plant, and not have to have that extra expense. So let's say around 15 to 16 million dollars probably is going to be the number, somewhere to get us in the 3 million gallon.
And if I was listening closely enough to you, you said it'd be about 18 months before it's up and online?
Correct. The good thing is, with that retirement of the bonds and paying off some of the bonds and some of the, the coal severance money that, that our legislators, Leslie Combs and Ray Jones and W. Keith Hall got us to help get this thing built and up and running, it should not, and I'll say this very delicately, I mean, the way it looks right now, we should not have much, if any, of any increase in the sewer plant rates if everything works the way we hope it will.
Those kind of statements may come back to haunt you some future day.
I hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah,
but that's what we're looking at right now. We're hoping that if it's going to be, if anything, it'll be very minimal.
Okay, from the waste treatment plant, we went to bowling resolution. Now let's go to a little lighter subject. You have some paddle boats on the pond. You're going to relocate or make it more convenient for the public?
We're going to make it a little more convenient, and we've had tremendous use out of them, but talking with Sean Cochran, Jesse Bowling, who does all of our tourism events, they felt like it would be better to move those paddle boats from the end of the pond at the State Highway Department back at the other end where the ramp is, and hopefully we're going to get that.
We're talking about the Ferguson Creek end of the pond?
Correct. And get that dock brought back down to the other end, so it's a little easier to launch boats. That pond is utilized so much, and my son-in-law, as a matter of fact, last weekend he pulled an 8-pound largemouth bass out of there.
Out of the pond?
Out of the pond, and several 2-pound crappie. So the crappie that we stocked in there 3 or 4 years ago are getting to the right size. So if you've not been down to the pond, now remember you can't take any of the bass out, but you can take the crappie,
catch and release.
Everything else is you can take.
May become one of the tourist destinations now that you mentioned that number.
We believe it. We believe it will.
What has it been now? About 2 years since you became landlord of the East Kentucky Expo Center, roughly 2?
Roughly that, yes.
You have some repair work now to address at the Expo Center. That was taken up in the commission meeting.
It was taken up, and we need to get working on that pretty quick. We put out the bid, and I can't remember there was a sole bidder that had to get some concrete work done on the box office side, on the Huffman Avenue side. Some concrete's cracked there, and underneath that is where the U-Pike men's and women's locker rooms are. So they're getting a little water down there, so we need to take care of that before we have any major damage.
It would have been a natural segue to go from the paddle boat issue that you just covered to a new initiative for Pikeville, the city of Pikeville, a motorcycle tours of East Kentucky. Fill us in on that.
This is a very unique situation and an attraction that again, Jesse Bowling, our director of tourism, and Sean Cochran have been working on, along with the Harley Shop and Double Quick, who are underwriting the whole program. As you see, you have the pamphlet there in your hand.
Yes, I do.
Those will be located in all the Double Quicks and the Harley Shop. Now, what happens is in there are maps of 5 different locations that you can go and for the riders to go, and along the way it'll show you where the Double Quick stores are, to where you can go in and get a passport, and the book looks like a regular passport. Well, when you do that, you'll get it stamped at each location that you go to, and then they'll give you these tokens, and the tokens can be gotten after you get your passport stamped at the Harley Shop. They say it's a huge thing, and they've already gotten several calls from several clubs that are getting ready to work on and ride this thing this summer.
You mentioned 5 destinations. Let me mention them. They're kind of catchy names here. The Screaming Eagle Route, Hatfield-McCoy Ride, the Switchback Ride, the Ultra Ride, which will take you all the way around Pike County, I'm assuming.
Right.
And the Ride to Kingdom Come, which should terminate somewhere in the Letcher County area.
Right.
So once you get these tokens, what can you do with them?
Well, they're more of a keepsake commemorative type deal. So when these motorcycle clubs go around the state and around the country, these are collector items that they do.
I see.
So they're very sought after tokens. So they kind of look like poker chips, is what they look like.
Each one of these 5 destinations, in this brochure, you have a very detailed description of where you go and what you do and some of the attractions that are involved?
Attractions that as they're riding around, they can pull off, and places to eat and all that.
What is the cost of?
There's no cost, just
no cost.
Ride and fun, have fun. That's right.
Well, that should go over big. No cost is a catchy phrase. Let's go back to the agenda here. We're talking, asking you now about the operation of the city as it relates to the Bob Amos Park. What are some of the attractions that can come of that experience?
Well, as you know, with our paddle boats, along with the paddle boats, we have kayaking, canoeing, and tubing going down the river. And also, I think we're going to again offer this summer. I haven't heard for sure, but we did it last year. I feel sure we'll do it this year. You can also rent tennis rackets to play tennis and rent a basketball and shoot some hoops.
That all takes place at Bob Amos Park?
At Bob Amos Park.
The city park, is it under any kind of renovation or addition?
We're probably in pretty good shape as far as we can go right now with the city park. If you haven't been up to the special needs park at Bob Amos,
the Universal Park,
the Universal Park, I would strongly recommend that you utilize that, and it is getting utilized a lot.
That's great.
There's so much up there for the kids to do.
We're only a few days away from the conclusion of Hillbilly Days. From the Pikeville City Commission perspective, how'd that go?
We had a report from Chief and the City Police and Jimmy Dean Atkins, and he said very quiet considering how many people were downtown Thursday and especially Friday. They said, I haven't heard any numbers at this point, but I'm hearing it's a record-breaking Friday. I know I was out with some friends from out of town and driving around and walking through town. I don't think I've ever seen that many people downtown on a Friday evening.
The threat of a little bit of rain on Saturday may have kept the numbers down a little, but the parade went on, and I heard that it was a wonderful parade.
It was, even though it looks like the heaviest rain came right during the parade. Didn't dampen the spirits. There were still a lot of people downtown. I'm sure it's not anything like that, normally Saturdays are, but still a good crowd considering.
During the period of March 2nd, West Liberty just about destroyed from a tornado. Relief efforts have gone in there in the forms of money and whatnot, but the city of Pikeville also jumped in and tried to help fellow citizens in West Liberty with a vehicle.
We did, and very glad to do that. Personally, I had to go through West Liberty last Thursday or Friday, and I know they've been working diligently to get it cleaned up, and I couldn't believe the devastation. And pictures, video just doesn't do it justice. When we first went down, we sent some people down, some firefighters and EMTs to help the days right after, and come to find out that the mayor and the city manager, they had no vehicles. They lost everything. So we took one of our spare vehicles down, and we've decided to let them keep that to help them get back on their feet.
I'm sure it was appreciated, Jimmy. Nice gesture. When Hal Rogers and Colonel Peterson was in town a couple of weeks ago, you were there, I was there, we heard the effusive compliments that Congressman Rogers heaped on Pikeville, its growth, its cleanliness, and progressive nature of our government.
Well, and that's something we take a lot of pride in. Probably the biggest thing out of those three is the cleanliness. I mean, that's something, I'll have to say, Walter May, when he was mayor, that was one of his big thing is to help get the city clean and pick up every piece of trash. And I think every mayor and every commission since then has done a wonderful job to make sure that Pikeville is one of the cleanest cities in the state. With the progression, I think that's part of it. I think, people see that cleanliness and they see the people wanting to keep things clean. And I think that helps drive industry, and that helps drive more people to come into your city.
I think you're right. I think on an earlier program several months ago, we mentioned the amazing fact that Pikeville looks so clean on Sunday morning following Hillbilly Days. And I think you ought to give a pat on the back to the UMG company.
Oh, absolutely. And that was, and we always say that the Monday after every Hillbilly Days that we have a meeting. Sunday morning, get ready to go to church, and it's like it never happened. I mean, they got a
the
little
most
help with the
amazing
rain.
thing I've
It helped
seen.
wash everything out a little bit, but UMG, Greg May, and his staff, Donnie Sloan, I'm telling you, it's just amazing. Again, I had some out-of-town guests. They left Sunday morning, drove through town, and they called me on their cell phone, and they said, "You were right. I've never seen anything like it compared to what it was 8, 10, 12 hours ago. It's like it never happened."
Have you had a chance to talk to Jesse Bowling, your events coordinator, and get his reaction to Hillbilly Days?
I talked with him Friday evening during the mayhem, I guess, of so many people downtown. I hadn't got a chance to talk to him since, and talking with Brad Hall as well. I think they were kind of getting some numbers together in that Hillbilly Days committee, who does an outstanding job each and every year to put this thing together. I want to give them a big shout out as well, because a lot of people think that this thing just happens. It's a yearly thing. It takes a year every year.
I assume you guys are
365.
already at work on next year.
Exactly, and it's a lot of hard work. And I think I was talking with Brad, and he said it was like, they had like 80 some volunteers, and they could probably use another 80, from the start to finish. And then, of course, the city has their city hall employees that help traffic control as well. So, throwing all that in together, it's a team effort, and it takes a team to make it happen. There's no other way.
And opportunity yesterday being the 24th, once again, time frame reference, to talk with Paul Maynard, the public safety director, I believe is his title.
Right.
He said it was more or less uneventful Hillbilly Days as far as ordinances and laws in the city of Pikeville. Only a couple of scuffles, and when you put 100 or 150,000 people together, you probably expect something like that. But he said all in all, it was a very quiet Hillbilly Days as far as law enforcement was concerned.
Correct. My understanding is there's very few arrests. I think people understand if they, can control themselves, nothing bad's going to happen, and that's what we want. We want everybody to have a good time and enjoy it, the festival. I think there was quite a few runs to the hospital, my understanding, which our fire department and EMT staff does a tremendous job, even with the crowds. With the heat and that many people close together, things are going to happen. So and I mean, nothing major, but it was good that they could get them out and get them to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Also, during Hillbilly Days, had country music headliner Eric Church in town. That was a packed audience, I understand.
So it could have been one of the biggest attendances that we've ever had at an Expo Center event. One of the first times I think that they've sold seats actually behind the stage, or horizontal with the stage.
Do you have any idea of the next attraction that may be appearing in the city of Pikeville? I hate to put you on the spot.
Not right offhand. I know Steve St. John was at the meeting Monday, and he says he's got some good things coming. A Kentucky magazine, speaking of the Expo Center, and Steve was ranked in the state the third best sports arena in the state.
I think I saw that.
Which is a great honor, considering look who we're against: the Yum Center, Rupp Arena. It's quite an accomplishment.
Yes,
I think.
it is, as a matter of fact. Recently, East Kentucky Broadcasting, in cooperation with the Transportation Cabinet and District 12, initiated a drive-down campaign. We hope the city of Pikeville participates in that as we attempt to cut down on a statistic that we all don't like, and that is we're number 3 in fatalities in the state of Kentucky, and talking about automobiles and travels on our highways. So that initiative will get started, and we'll be talking with you city commissioners to see how we can involve you.
Well, actually, I was traveling yesterday and I got to listen to the broadcast on East Kentucky Broadcasting, and some of the numbers that were thrown out there were astonishing.
Yes,
you don't realize it. You hear the sirens every day, and you don't know where they're going, but I have a better idea now where they're going. If there's one thing we can take from this is that we need to slow down, pay attention. I think one of the things that was noticed is the biggest thing is in attack. They're texting or talking on the phone.
Distracted driving.
Distracted
Jimmy,
driving.
our time's up.
Can't imagine that.
I can't imagine that either. We've been talking with Jimmy Carter, City Commissioner for the City of Pikeville, And we'll talk with you the next time you meet with the City Commission, and you can debrief yourself and inform us what's going on in our city.
Thank you, Homer. Appreciate it.
City Commissioners Report from the City of Pikeville. I'm Homer Owens reporting.